Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hacking with Friends. My name is Cody Kinsey. I am a security researcher with Varonis, and this is our production gremlin, Michael, who's joining us today to do our number one requested video. Are you ready for what that is? Do you know what it is?
I'm a little production gremlin. I'm not ever.
It's what the fans demand, and we've gotten so many requests for this. We're finally going to do it. Michael, they want me to hack your phone. Yeah. That's what they say. They want me to do it. So because the fans have demanded it, we're going to hack Michael's phone today with a little bit of...
All right, thanks for coming to our live stream.
with a little bit of original research by me. So one of my favorite things about hacking is Wi-Fi hacking. I think it's really cool and interesting. And a lot of the research I've done into Wi-Fi hacking ends with people asking me some questions that to a beginner sound reasonable, but to someone who's been doing this for a while, doesn't sound like a good idea. Now, let me kind of explain what I mean by this. One question I get all the time is, should I create a hidden Wi-Fi network if I'm really serious about privacy? You might see that there's like all of 3 features for locking down your Wi-Fi network and wonder if this third one, aside from setting a password, might be worth, clicking on. No, it's not. Long story short, it is absolutely not. Yeah. But a lot of people think it is. And you'll see arguments kind of both ways about why hidden networks might be a good idea. Now, Michael, do you know what a hidden network is?
Basically, it's a Wi-Fi network that exists that will not, like when you pull up your phone and you look for local networks, it's not going to show in that list. If you have something like Wiggle or something, I think like it'll have like a blank BSS ID or it won't display its network ID until like you ask for it or something like that, I think.
That's exactly right. So when we say a hidden Wi-Fi network, what's basically happening here is we're instructing the access point to still put out beacons. So it has to be aware, well, it has to like make other devices aware of the fact that it is there, but it does not include the name of the Wi-Fi network. So the average Wi-Fi device isn't able to parse or do anything with this, so it just ignores it and it leaves it off the list. Now, as Michael mentioned, if you have an application like Wiggle Wi-Fi, or if you're running Kismet, then you can see all of this, and it's actually pretty easy to observe. But if you don't have that, then you wouldn't see it, and you would need to know the name of the Wi-Fi network in order to connect to it. Now, the way that works is your phone would basically be responsible then for assuming that this Wi-Fi network could be out there at any moment. It doesn't know because it's not saying its real name. So what it needs to do is constantly be shouting out and asking, hey, are you there? Hey, are you there? So what we're going to be demonstrating today is how you can basically track someone's phone and even cause it to allow you to force it to connect to an evil network, all by showing someone and having them scan this QR code. Doesn't seem that bad, huh?
Yeah.
So we're going to be abusing a couple things. We're going to be abusing hidden networks, and we're also going to be abusing this really cool feature that a lot of Android phones have. I think it probably works on iPhones, maybe. I don't know. I don't use one. But it gives you the ability to share Wi-Fi networks with a QR code. And you can take these, print them out on physical stickers, write whatever you want on them, and a lot of people will connect to a free Wi-Fi network just because it's so easy and convenient to use a QR code. Now, if you connect to a Wi-Fi network via one of these QR codes, it also has the effect of obfuscating the settings. So you don't really see how it's set up when you scan it. So the advantage here is for a hacker, if I get someone like Michael to scan this QR code thinking it's free Wi-Fi, then I can actually make his phone vulnerable to future attacks, as well as vulnerable to tracking. So we're going to go into exactly how that's possible today. But
so
Michael,
in some ways,
questions?
this is like a social engineering attack as much as it is a Wi-Fi attack.
Right, exactly. So by getting somebody to join this Wi-Fi network, or really join any hidden Wi-Fi network, we're really just using this QR code to hide the fact that it's configured as a hidden network. My idea is to basically get people who are not very tech savvy to think that, just to join any random network, they should be enabling like a hidden Wi-Fi network mode, which makes their phone basically scream out the name of every single network that they've added as a hidden network. So if they have a whole bunch of them, then you better believe that their cell phone is going to be very trackable and very unique, because it's constantly going to be shouting out like all these different hidden Wi-Fi networks it supposedly could be
so
nearby.
If the targets are people who are not tech savvy, how common would you say it is for those group of individuals to know that there's a feature on their phone where they can scan like QR codes?
It's pretty common. So nowadays you'll see a lot of people kind of sharing information like this. QR codes also, I've done, so back when I worked at a music venue, I had a problem, and that's people don't read signs. So we had 2 entrances, 2 separate venues. We would have one event move to the bottom of it, and we would put up signs saying, the show has moved downstairs. Please don't come up to us. Please don't clog up the line. We would get people who would come straight up to me, ignore 7 signs, one big one in front of them. They had to walk around, and they would just ignore it and try to come right in. But I decided to try something else. So I put up a QR code, a big, suspicious-looking QR code, and people were curious enough that in line they would scan it and see the message that the show had moved downstairs. So I got better responses with bored people in line scanning a QR code that looked like it might be interesting than I did with a plain text English sign with the exact information they needed. So human psychology is, they're curious, and especially if you give them a reason to want to try something. There's not a lot of settings under Wi-Fi, like really in most people's phones. So discovering that like, oh, I can just scan a QR code and it just connects, or oh, I have this extra button for connecting to hidden networks. Like, I didn't even know that. It doesn't seem like an attack when you're just using a new feature on your phone. So that's kind of the key here is a hidden network is a feature, a terrible, flawed feature that I love because people use it and it makes them vulnerable to all sorts of stuff. But it is a feature. So getting in there and using it, you're not going to have any warnings pop up. You're not going to have any indication that they're doing anything bad because, the system's like, oh, the guy's connecting to a hidden network. Cool, like whatever. I'm designed for that. So this is not a malicious behavior that most people would recognize as such.
Even a somewhat tech-savvy person, like if they're familiar with networking, might be like, oh, okay, like they just didn't want a ton of people joining this network, so they made it hidden. Like they might not immediately find that suspicious.
Yeah, and there's a very counterintuitive narrative around hidden networks, around like if they're a good idea or not. I insist they are not. Many people say that they are a good idea. I do not agree with them. But for example, if you're going to go to a hacker conference and you weren't a Wi-Fi specialist and maybe you're at a pool party or something adjacent to it and they're just like, hey, we organize free Wi-Fi for everyone. Use a VPN, and then like this is on like stuck somewhere. You could connect to it. It could work perfectly fine, and you would never know that your phone is now beaconing that Wi-Fi network all the time, and that anybody who saw your phone beaconing that Wi-Fi network could recreate that Wi-Fi network or one with the same name, and your phone would just join it. And that's really what, when I say I'm hacking Michael's phone, that's really the key here. As soon as I get Michael to scan this QR code, even if it doesn't successfully connect, ever, it'll still be added to what's called the preferred network list on his phone. So his phone is going to be constantly putting out a signal that says in plain text the name of this Wi-Fi network, which is hilarious. But the other side effect is an attacker can see that his phone is calling out for this network and be like, oh, I'm that network. And as soon as you put up a fake network, his phone should just automatically connect.
Yeah, and like I really see like 2 groups would be potentially vulnerable to this sort of thing, and that's like the sort of like prosumer enthusiast group who are going to see a QR code and immediately recognize, oh, hey, that's a thing I can add a Wi-Fi network with. And then also certain cultures, like with Alipay and stuff like that in Asian countries, it's very common to use QR code scanning to communicate information and to pay for things. So them seeing a QR code, they're much more obvious. They're going to be like, oh, hey, Wi-Fi, right? Where maybe certain parts of the U.S. persons that aren't more familiar with tech stuff might not see that and be like, what's this tech stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So there's going to be people who react differently to this. Of course, again, we're just masking the configuration with this whole QR code. If we wanted to tell someone that Starlink was coming to their town and all they needed to do to join it was connect to this hidden network. It's like, Starlink's everywhere. It comes from space. Just, join this hidden network and you'll be able to connect. I mean, like, I'm going to say 5 out of 10 Americans would believe that because they don't know anything about Starlink. It's a new technology, exciting. They've never seen this hidden network feature on their phone before. It's all new. So, like, unless they really sit down and Google it, most people are just going to try it, if you tell them to. And then if it doesn't work, they're like, all right, well, it didn't work. But they don't know that now they've basically primed their phone to be attacked by an outsider who knows that their phone now has this information stored on it and will automatically connect to a malicious network. And we're going to try to phish Michael today, like pop up a phishing page or otherwise just disable his internet connection just by forcing his phone to connect to our fake network that we're going to inject into his phone just by a QR code. And Michael himself is going to have to do the deed. If Michael chooses to ignore this, then, we can't really do anything. Well, we can do lots of stuff, but not anything in line of this attack.
So that might be an important note is this is really targeting people's like smartphones and to a lesser extent tablets. Like
Smartphones, tablets, laptops would work too if they join a hidden network. So
right,
any
but,
device
like-
that's capable of joining a hidden network, this can target.
right.
QR codes, though, are only, as Michael said, for things that can scan QR codes, so you need a camera. That's not, I mean, I guess you
Right.
could do it on your laptop if you really wanted to, but like it's more convenient to just get them to join a hidden network.
Okay.
So if you're attacking like a desktop tower computer's Wi-Fi network, then you can still do it, just you have to get them to join a hidden network, and all the stuff will work the way we're describing it. So let's go.
Yeah,
Well,
enough
actually-
talk. Let's actually like show this off.
Yeah, so let's go ahead.
I don't think you'd really target like tower computers anyway, because in theory that's going to be stationary in a person's home.
Oh, no. If you want to exfiltrate data off of a person's computer, or just establish a link so you can start port scanning them,
That's true.
it's a good way to establish initial access, or you can even get a foothold on their network potentially. So like there's a lot of things you can do like once you get the person to connect directly to you. My favorite, of course, being just serving them a phishing page for the router, and then they're like, oh, my Wi-Fi's updating. They type in the Wi-Fi password, it allows them back on the normal internet, and then boom, you're into their network because you initially snagged their device and were able to serve them content that was confusing.
Right.
So, okay, let's
wanna
go.
show your screen?
Yeah, let's go ahead and switch to my screen. There's going to be a bunch of stuff up here about Wireshark, which, trust me, we're going to dive into. But we don't need this quite yet. Instead, let's go over and take a look at a couple of these QR code generators that I've been using to try out this attack. Now, I found two that work pretty well. This pure JS Wi-Fi QR code generator isn't established with like a company that I can see, or maybe it is. I just haven't bothered to read. But either way, they're not trying to sell me a product. This works okay. Sometimes I notice you have to turn it sideways in order to get it to work, but it does seem to work all right. The second one is this qr-code-generator.com/solution/Wi-Fi QR code. Super legit.
Yeah.
This definitely is a company, and they're trying to sell you like branded QR codes and like persistent tracking and whatever. And if you stop paying, then all of your links stop working. So don't buy it. But the free stuff works just fine.
I know on Android phones too, if you've connected to a network and you just click share, it'll generate a QR code for you as well. I don't know if this would work for, like, I guess if I joined your hidden network and I was connected to it, then I could just show you the QR code for it.
Yeah,
on my
then you
phone
could,
easily.
if you're connected to a network currently, then you can hit share and generate a QR code for it from Android.
Speaking of, I think that would be an incredibly effective social engineering method. It's just like, you're in an event or whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, here, just pop up your phone and say, hey, connect to this Wi-Fi, it's working, or whatever.
I don't know. I don't do a lot of face-to-face stuff.
I'd
I'd rather leave a
mind
poster.
you, not during the virus and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and generate a Wi-Fi network. Basically, we're creating credentials for someone to try to authenticate to a Wi-Fi network for. And this information is going to be saved directly into their phone in what's called the preferred network list. And what's important to know about this preferred network list is that basically it trusts every single network in there as though it was 100% legitimate, nothing could ever go wrong. So anytime you connect to a Wi-Fi network, your phone is like, okay, the boss says this network's good to go. And not just this network, but any network with the same name. And the reason that they do that is if you're at like a university and there's a bunch of wireless extenders that have different MAC addresses but the same name, they want to basically make it a seamless experience. So you can move between the Wi-Fi networks and your phone only shows one at a time instead of like 15 for all the different extenders that are there. So because of that, it's also a vulnerability. If you are off campus and I create a Wi-Fi network that looks like your school's network, your phone's going to be like, oh, great, I'm at school, and connect to it just the same. And then I can start serving you malicious content or something like that.
Which is an important note on why you should always use a VPN.
Yes.
Because you never know what network you're actually connecting to, particularly on a mobile device.
Yes, definitely. So, all right, so there's a couple scenarios here. If I didn't know, if I can't get this person to scan the QR code, then I can always just pop up a big, long list of fake Wi-Fi networks that are extremely common in the area and see which one their phone reacts to. Now, I'm not
like
going to...
Google Starbucks or something
Google
like that?
Starbucks, like department store Wi-Fis, like anywhere where people are, especially hotel room Wi-Fis, anywhere where people are going to be waiting and connecting to Wi-Fi, fast food Wi-Fi networks. In Los Angeles, there was like a public park Wi-Fi network that was at every public park. These are all really good ways to draw out some network from their preferred network list by basically creating the illusion that that network is there. And then we can do all the stuff that we're going to do today, but this is much more direct. We're actually getting them to inject this information directly into their preferred network list. So rather than having to go through the whole song and dance of figuring out like what they'll connect to, we can positively ID someone who scanned this QR code just by looking for the signals their phone puts out after.
Now, with using the random networks, there are a lot of those networks that would require like specific user authentication. Like, so a hotel, you often ask like your room ID and stuff like that. Does that process interfere with your ability to spoof that network, or does it? You just say I'm this SSID.
So a smartphone or any other Wi-Fi device will save an extremely limited amount of Wi-Fi information. That's going to be the security type, like the whatever password information it needs to store, and then the name of the device. Nothing else is stored. So you can have a hotel Wi-Fi that's configured in a completely different way. The network topography, the IP address, everything was totally different. And then some guy pops up a Wi-Fi network that's nothing like it. And your device cannot tell the difference between the two because everything that you're talking about happens post-connection.
Right.
So that'll be like you try to connect to the internet, you get an IP address, and then it redirects you somewhere. That all happens after the Wi-Fi connection has been negotiated. So no, the different network settings, different network topography, other differences in networks will not have any effect provided the security method is the same. So open, WPA2, or WEP, which is a terrible idea. There's also like some more
WPA Enterprise.
Yeah, WPA Enterprise, but I don't talk about that much because like it's just you slap a radius server on it. It's not okay, so that was a lot. Let's look at what our options are here. So this is Michael's phone. This is going to be the name of our Wi-Fi network. We can either have a password or no password. In this context, it doesn't really matter. But if we want to create a backdoor that's like just our backdoor, we can add a password.
Right.
And that way, nobody else would be able to take advantage of Michael's poor phone, which has been backdoored basically via Wi-Fi. And nobody else would be able to force his phone to connect to theirs. Well, at least without going through a bunch of effort. So in this case, no mercy. There's no password. Anybody can get his phone to connect. And we're just going to make that so that, it's a little bit easier to force his device to connect. But this is the important thing. We can see hidden. And it's like, what is this? Is this a hidden Wi-Fi network?
Literally, it's just a little checkbox.
It's just a little checkbox. And then this other one here, it's also just a little checkbox.
Nice.
So we click on Generate QR Code. And don't click on Scan Tracking. That'll get them to try to like sell you something. And here we go. We have this. This is very simple. We can download the JPEG. And then go away. I don't want your product. And we have this that we can scan, and it's very, very easy for Michael to just go ahead and scan this QR code and have it. The way that it looks is actually kind of funny. You scan it, and then the scanner just disappears, and there's no information.
Yeah, you're just connected.
Yeah, you're just either connected or you're not connected. It'll try to connect, and if it doesn't connect, then nothing happens. So often people will just like put this in their phone like 3 times because they're like, why is it not working? No. And like there's no real feedback on a lot of systems, which is really funny. Some Android systems might have a different flavor of like Android running on it if the carrier has something they put on top of it to like have you double check it. But at least on like a Pixel, there's absolutely nothing. It just automatically connects.
So as far as like stock Android, there's nothing.
All right, so Michael, I want you to go into your phone. And while I'm setting up the next section, I want you to go into your preferred network list, your saved Wi-Fi networks, and delete any networks that are like, this is Michael's phone. Because I think I tagged you already. I'm almost 100%.
I have 192 saved networks.
So if you are like Michael and you are checking your phone right now and you have 192 saved networks and like half of them are open Wi-Fi networks, meaning anybody can get your device to connect, go through and delete that right now.
Literally, like, the first 4 are, like, free Wi-Fi or part of the name.
Yeah, free Wi-Fi, open Wi-Fi. You'll find there's some real bad ones.
RSA conference.
The RSA conference. Yeah, if you know someone's been to a conference, basically Michael's phone will ping if you put up the RSA conference network and be like, oh, I went to RSA. Yeah. So if you don't want a huge privacy leak, really this is kind of what this attack is taking advantage of. I love the fact that the preferred network list is such a... I was going to say something else, but a mess. So like, because it's just like, yeah, I trust it. Like, let's join that network. You can really start messing with it and learning, for example, where someone has possibly been.
Looking at mine, I realized that airport Wi-Fi networks would be a very, very good target because if
airplane Wi-Fi networks, everyone is captive. They're just stuck on the plane. You can interrogate everyone's device and know where everyone's been. It's hilarious. All right, so we're going to open up Wireshark. And this is where, we're going to get into all that junk that was on my screen. So let's go.
Did you say, Michael's network. So you want me to delete Michael's network?
Yeah, delete, well, that's not it. Yeah, sure, delete Michael's network. There should be like some other stuff like, this is Michael's phone. Here I am. Look at me. I think it says look at me specifically.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. So, okay, on my screen is a big giant mess of the most common 802.11 Wireshark display filters. Now, there's, not to capture filters. So there's display filters and capture filters. For some reason, the syntax is completely different. And we're going to be using a display filter today to only show the kind of packets that we are hunting. So we are hunting Michael's phone. We want to be able to track it as soon as it starts putting out the signal. And that's what we're going to focus on first. So we need to look for what's called probe requests. So probe requests are when a phone is looking for a network it's either recently connected to or a network that is hidden, that's stored in its preferred network list. And also, by the way, if you're interested in all this stuff, like Wi-Fi hacking stuff, I learned most of this from reading Matthew Van Hoff's papers. So big shout out to Matthew Van Hoff for answering all my questions on this. He's a great Wi-Fi researcher and has a lot of really great public papers on this sort of stuff if you're interested. But, all right, so we're going to use this particular filter in order to make sure we're only seeing stuff that we want to see and that we don't have to extensively blur our screen. So let's do sudo Wireshark. And hopefully we open up Wireshark. We're going to, I'm going to make it very small.
Oh, okay. I was about to tell you to make it a lot bigger.
Oh, well, no, don't worry. So first I'm going to put this in to make sure that we don't see stuff we don't want to see. All right. Now that we have that in, we're going to select this as our main interface. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. And you'll notice that at the bottom, it's like we have 60 packets, but it's only displaying 2. That's great. That means that we're only seeing stuff that is a probe request. Now here at the bottom, we can start to dig through information in this probe request and see, for example, tagged parameters. Interesting. So we can see that there is a tagged parameter called control, meaning at some point someone had connected to a network called control, which was a hidden network, or maybe they did it recently. So if I want to see this a little bit more, I can...
So this is showing probe requests specifically for hidden networks?
No, any network.
Okay.
Yeah, but it will also show all hidden networks because that's just how they work.
I was going to say, that is a lot of probe requests, especially considering like my phone is connected to a Wi-Fi network right now.
Oh, here we go. All right, so look at this. So I'm going to drag this in and we can see that there's a couple different networks nearby phones are trying to connect to. Control, and then I'm Michael, look at me.
Okay, yeah, so I didn't delete that one.
So it looks like I already tagged Michael with the first QR code we experimented with, but this one's different. So we're going to hit him again as soon as he deletes this network.
Oh, you have like two of those.
Yeah, it adds it twice for some reason.
That's fascinating.
All right, so we can see we're already getting some pretty good results here. I can see that I need to delete some stuff out of my phone because the changing MAC address on this makes me think it's my device because my device is configured to do that. Yeah. But you'll notice that most phones nowadays will do something called MAC address randomization. So even though there's probably only one device that's calling control and whatever this other one is, it still is changing pretty constantly, and it's difficult to track that one device is doing this. Now we're totally blowing this cover by having Michael's phone start beaconing out something that even if his MAC address is changing, we'll be able to identify that, hey, this is him. So we can see now, actually, let me stop the capture. I'll start it again without having tagged you. All right, so now we're capturing again.
Yeah, so also, like, for example, I have like over 100 different Wi-Fi networks. How is it picking which ones it's pinging? Does that make sense?
Only the most recent ones and only ones that were configured as hidden networks. Those are the only 2 that will be there in plain text.
Interesting.
Although I've seen some weird stuff where sometimes it'll just send out a group, like a burst of probe requests that have some ones from like a while ago, and I have no idea why it's doing it. So there are some like weird like ghosts in the machine that I don't understand. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Anyway.
I believe we are capturing your phone right now because I just deleted control.
Yep. Yeah. So we are probably capturing my phone. Let me see. I'm actually curious now. I also am guilty of having a lot of, you can see mine, there's just a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm scrolling and scrolling. Actually, the worst thing
I think yours is worse than mine.
Well, the Chicken Man game really is what did it for me. We did a game called the Chicken Man game where like your Wi-Fi network name changes, like Chicken Hard 1, Chicken Easy, Chicken Medium, Chicken...
I set up a bunch of smart lights in our house, over 20 Yi lights, so I have 20 unique Yi light.
It's terrible. We're telling you guys to do all this security and we're not even doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, actually, This is funny. I believe that the control network is beaconing out from like my laptop or something, because I actually don't have that.
Oh,
saved.
that might actually be like this. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be the production laptop too. Okay, so
Anyway,
so we can see here there's some background noise. We're seeing devices that are beaconing out, but let's go ahead. Michael, do you want to do the honor of scanning this? Let's see what happens.
Sure.
So we're the hacker. We put this up somewhere in public, and we're waiting for someone who is gonna try to join this one. Boom! Look at that. This is Michael's phone. Look at me. That's the first thing we see.
Yeah.
So at no point did Michael's phone connect to this network because it does not exist. Look at how it's spamming this. It's like so desperate to get into this network that doesn't exist. It's really like starting to put this network name out a lot, and it's not just on this channel.
It should have stopped now. So what happened on my phone is
it's not going to stop. Even if you're connected to another network, it's not going to stop.
Right, mind you,
which is really funny.
Spamming it so hard is what I meant to say. But like, so when I brought it up on my phone, it just froze for a second, and then it just went back to my Wi-Fi menu, and it showed me disconnected. And then after like 10 or 15 seconds there, it reconnected to the home network we have going on here.
So
I guess once it decided it wasn't there.
Even if you are connected to any other network, it will continue to beacon this out because it wants to know if that network is in the area. If it does, it wants to tell you that it's in the area. So because it's constantly searching, it's just like, hey, are you nearby? Hey, are you nearby? It can never assume that. So it has to constantly be sending out, this is Michael's phone, look at me, over and over and over, which again is very funny. So, all right, we've infected Michael's phone. At this point, there's a backdoor in Michael's phone where anybody who creates this network, this is Michael's phone, look at me, is able to basically get his phone to connect. So because, how much time do we have?
We have like 30 minutes.
Cool. Well, let's get a little bit more advanced with this.
Yeah, so how would a hack... So like this is really cool, and I mean, obviously it shows that my phone would connect to that network, but like what does that really mean in practical terms of security? Like what could a hacker do if they forced me to join a network?
I can see everything you're doing. I can see which websites you're resolving. I can downgrade your security. I can send you phishing links. I can send you drive-by malware where it just starts downloading even though you don't do anything. I can do JavaScript keyloggers so I can see what you're typing into your system. And I can constantly and then I can replace websites that you're trying to load with versions that just steal your passwords and are able to bypass 2FA.
That sounds no bueno.
Yeah. If you have a VPN connected, then this becomes a little different.
Right.
Then I can still try to phish you for your Wi-Fi password and do some other stuff, and maybe I might even be able to mess up your VPN connection. So I can like basically junk up your VPN so bad that you have to get work done, so you end up not using it. There's still things I can do when I own your data connection because people want to get work done, and if you throw too many obstacles in their way, then usually they're just gonna discard whatever security they were using before because they're just focused on getting the problem solved.
I think that's one of the elements of security that gets overlooked or glossed over a lot is the fact, like the human element, and the fact that security relies on the human, like the convenience, right? Like if you make security too inconvenient, then you can get the target to just throw away their security, right? Like, similar thing with like password policies. If you make your password policy too complicated, then people start writing it on Post-it notes under their keyboard, kind of thing.
Definitely. All right, so we're going to go over to the terminal window and let's mess this stuff up. We're going to split the terminal. Maybe I'll just make a new one. No, this looks cool. We'll just make that very small.
Could you make that full screen?
I can very shortly. But first, I just need to make sure. Okay, so this is the network name we're going to be hunting. This is Michael's phone. Look at me. Great. Okay. So, all right. What we're going to use here today is the Huhnitor, which...
This is Michael. Fascinating.
Are you sleepy? Do you need to take a nap? If you guys mind, do you want to take a nap so just the viewers can wait?
It's all right. No? I'll survive.
Okay, sorry guys. I guess Michael doesn't want to take a nap. All right, so we're going to be using the D1 Mini. This is a little ESP8266 base development board. And it's been loaded up with the dAuthor firmware. So we are going to be using the V3 dAuthor, which is a Wi-Fi hacking framework developed by Stefan Kremser, our good friend, to do some of the dirty work now that we have provided a way of getting at Michael's phone. So I'm going to first use the serial interface which is cross-platform, built in Rust, and really, really cool. It's called the Huhnitor.
Rust.
So I'll type Huhnitor.
Let us
And
know if y'all want more content on Rust, because that's definitely something I've been
please
interested
do
in.
not. I do not want to learn Rust. It is a hard language. It is very cool, but I don't know anything about it, and I've been actively discouraged by people who know Rust. I'm like,
Okay.
well, I know some Python. They're like, it's not like that. So Rust is cool. We're probably not going to cover it. Sorry,
Gotcha.
Michael. All right, so on the screen, we have a giant chicken. This should be good enough.
Huhnitor.
Yeah, this should be good enough, but we're going to make it even better. As soon as we plug this in, the Huhnitor automatically detects the Wi-Fi deauthor and will start it. Although I also get some random like junk on the screen, which is cool. No one else gets that.
Yeah. I mean,
Hopefully it actually... Are you going to recognize it?
random gibberish to the WAN.
Yeah. Ooh, well this is why you... Well, let's see. Oh, maybe it's not plugged in all the way. Kind of feels like it definitely is plugged in all the way though. Let's see.
Yeah.
If it fried itself in the very small time between when we were doing...
That would be horrible.
That would be horrible. All right.
Is it lighting up at all?
Yeah, it lights up initially, but not enough that I'm very inspired with confidence. Let me try plugging it in here.
Do you just need a D1 Mini?
No, I need the specific one that I flashed, which is this one. ls dev su will tell me the serial ports that are connected, so it doesn't see it for some reason. That's odd. And this problem actually happened earlier, and I had to restart in order to fix it.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the case.
Very, very much hope isn't the case. No! So macOS recently did an update that broke everything, that I was doing.
You know, that's funny. I was going to download that update this morning,
Do
and I
not
just
do
didn't
it.
have enough space on this laptop to do that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, well that might actually cause a big problem for our live stream.
If that is the case, we can always take a break and come right back.
Yeah, I might need to restart real quick. Wow, what? I've never had this be that bad. Are there any micro
that's
USB
why
cables?
it's-
Give me that one.
There's this micro USB cable.
Let's try it. So always, first thing to do is check the micro USB cable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've tested this micro USB cable like literally right before we did this. So
Yeah,
not a
oftentimes
great sign.
You'll get USB cables that are power only or something like that, especially with micro USB, since it's such a common standard for such a long time.
Not looking good. Yeah, so if you're running macOS, expect the next update to totally mess up your ability to communicate with some microcontrollers. This is constant. This happened on the last update, and it will happen on the next one. So let's pause for a second. I'm going to restart this, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back. And my advice is, 1, do not update macOS if you are trying to work with microcontrollers. And 2, make absolutely sure that your cables support data. Our problem was a little bit of a combination of both, one bad cable and then also updating macOS. But restarting it seems to have fixed it. All right, so I'm going to type Huhnitor. This time I'm not going to talk it up so much.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, we'll see, I can see that I have a couple of different ports available now that weren't available before. And I'm going to select number 3. For whatever reason on macOS system, I see the one that has a W in front of it is the one that's typically able to be interacted with. If I were to choose the 4th one, I don't think it works. See? Didn't. So I'm going to choose number 3. We now have this beautiful waterfall.
Of gibberish.
Yeah, of gibberish. And we are in the main menu. So I can type help.s to see the short version. And these are all the commands I have as a hacker at my disposal with this little microcontroller. So I'm going to start out with, let's do a scan. And then we want to set the mode to look for stations. So this is a pretty basic command. We're just not looking for access points. We're only looking for stations.
What is a station in this context?
So an access point would be a Wi-Fi network, and a station would be a device that connects to a Wi-Fi network. So
Okay.
a smartphone, a laptop, something like that.
Gotcha.
So let's see if we can find anything. We can see there's well, that's interesting. There's, oh, okay, I got it. So the thing that's trying to connect to the control network is actually an espressive device. So somewhere around here, there's an ESP8266 that's desperately trying to connect.
Oh, maybe it's the lights behind us.
Possibly. That would be funny. All right, so we didn't see that much, and that's not always uncommon. So what I'm going to do is just do a regular scan, and we're going to find a lot more. And we're also going to see relationships between different networks, and that's great too. But what we want to see, hopefully, when we look at the clients, which should run for 20 seconds, is something connected that we can disconnect. So something we can start poking around on and see if it is Michael's phone. So Michael, go ahead and verify that you're connected to Wi-Fi. Oh, never mind. You don't have to because your phone just blew its cover. All right, so here we go. That didn't take very long.
I didn't even do anything.
All right, so we can see that Michael's phone is busy shouting, "This is Michael's phone, look at me," which is hilarious and great. So we're going to type help-s again. We can see that we can create a access point, or if we want to create a beacon, then we can just verify that Michael's phone is desperate to connect. So let's do a beacon first. So the difference between a beacon and creating an AP is we can create multiple beacons. So we can create the appearance of up to, I think, like 60 or more fake networks at the same time with the beacon, but they're not real. No one can really connect to them. The converse of that is the access point will allow us, well, it only allows you to do a single network, but a device can actually join it and get an IP address, and we can serve them. Maybe
and that's what you would need to actually hack my phone, is to force me to join a network.
Exactly. So first we're going to try beaconing. So we're going to do beacon and then the SSID.
And why would my phone join, say, your network as opposed to staying on whatever network it's currently attached to?
Oh, because I'm going to kick it off.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was wondering, is there like signal strength tricks or anything you could do too?
Signal strength will also do it. So if you present a stronger network, that could entice the device to join that network instead.
So like if I were at a coffee shop or something and you just sat behind me, more than likely you'd have a stronger signal than whatever coffee shop network was there.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set everything else as default. Let's see if this will work. Oh wait, no, I'm going to stop it. Because I forgot something. So the other thing I can do with this command is use the monitor function. So, wait, -auth? Okay, sure. So we're going to use -auth, but the other thing you can do is -m. So what, or -mon. Wow, he made a lot of options. So what this is going to do is basically give us the ability to see if anybody is trying to connect to that network in real time. Now we're not allowing them to connect to the network, so this is more passive.
Just seeing if I'm around, basically.
Yeah. So let's see if it understands this. I'm going to use auth, but I think mon works too. Yes. Okay. So now we're monitoring. So you can see the difference between this one and this one is we're looking for authentications. So Michael, go ahead and disconnect from the main Wi-Fi network for a second, and let's see if your phone considers this to be a juicy target.
Oh wait, that just turns Wi-Fi off.
Yeah, that might be good enough.
I'm just going to forget.
Yeah, you can temporarily forget that.
It shows this is Michael's phone, look at me, as saved, but like it's not automatic. Oh wait, no, I'm connected to something.
Here we go. All right, so we can see now it's trying to connect. So we grab the MAC address and we can confirm that Michael's phone is hot on the tail of this network. It is interested in it. It's making advances. It's being very clear about its intention to try to join this network. So we're gonna stop.
I was gonna say on my phone, like it was like the top network on the list of saved networks.
All from this tiny little Wi-Fi device, which is super, super, super cool. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we've stopped this. So we're going to do help-s again. We're going to this time do an access point. So we'll do AP S for the SSID, and we're just gonna borrow it from last time. All right. I guess we could make it hidden if we want to make it really authentic.
Oh, so yeah. I think also part of the thing to remember too, if you were doing this for real, is like to make the network name something like more believable, or like something that someone would easily misbelieve that they had, like Starbucks Wi-Fi, or and then just like take out the S, or like do any any of the like typical things.
So I'm trying to make this a little bit more complicated than we've done before. Looking at the code on my screen, what do you think it's going to do when I let it fly?
With just this last line?
Yeah, just the last line. That's this one on the bottom is the only one I've actually written. Everything else.
So you're gonna de-auth either that Michael's phone, or you're gonna de-auth everything but Michael's phone. I can't.
No. So first, we're going to run the AP command. The AP command is going to start an access point with the name. This is Michael's phone.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I meant you're gonna start that, make it hidden, and then you're gonna de-auth. I can't tell whether that's like some network.
All right. So then we have these two semicolons, which I
Yeah.
believe lets us chain commands. I'm going to have to double check. We'll see if it errors out. And then we're doing a second command, which is de-auth station 0. So if we look back up at the scan, when we did a scan, we only had one result. And in computer science, lists start at 0.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have station number 0, wherever that is.
Was it down farther?
Was it up? It's right. It's right here. We have station number 0, which is what we're targeting. So we're doing two things simultaneously.
Wait.
We're attack. What?
Okay. So you're making the network. You're making the access point, and then you're de-authing that access point.
No, I'm making the network, and then I'm de-authing you. So if you were
Okay.
still connected to, actually, go ahead and if you want to connect to the house network.
Okay. I'm connected to something right now. I don't know.
Yeah, just make sure it's not the 5 gigahertz network. This is 2.4 gigahertz only. So if you're connected to a 5 gigahertz network, then this attack will not work. Or at least you'll have to use different hardware and Linux tools, and it won't be so smooth, and it won't be so pretty, and there's no chickens.
Okay. Oh, well, does it not work on 5 gigahertz just because of the ESP device we're using?
Right, just because of the ESP device we're using.
Okay, so if you did have like a Wi-Fi adapter or something, you would...
If you had a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi adapter, you could do this, but you'd have to use completely different tools.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if it works.
Okay.
So, Michael, are you connected to...
I'm connected to the
Michael's
network.
connected to the house Wi-Fi network. Ooh, wait, okay, so let's see what happened. It's ready to start the access point, and then unknown argument at command deauth at st. Okay, so let's do stop, and then let's take a look at what happened. Help. So we're looking at the deauth command. So that's going to be right. Oh my gosh, there's so many right here. Mm-hmm. So we want deauth and then AP. And then value. Okay, so there is one possibility of a problem, which is if we haven't scanned Michael's phone as being connected to the access point, then it doesn't know what relationship to target, and it can't send anything. So let's do one more scan, just to make sure that we have a proper target list and that we can attack Michael's phone. Go ahead and open an app, do something, check your email. Just make sure that there's some traffic for the next 20 seconds.
Okay.
Go on Instagram,
yeah, I'm
like
looking
some
at
stuff
on Facebook.
Ugh. Some sacrifices have to be made.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Are you sure? I just want to double check you're on the 2.4 gigahertz and not the 5 gigahertz network, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
2G. Open up some random apps, looking at the weather.
Maybe I'll just move this ever so slightly over here.
Yeah.
Maybe that will help.
Sunny all week with 0% chance of rain.
That's
fun.
Okay, I hope you use it more heavily.
I do it.
Or actually, I suppose if I wanted to even the odds a little bit, I could stay on one particular network. Oh yeah, order some Chick-fil-A or something. Yeah. So let's see. So I know that this is on channel 6. So why don't I stop? And I'm going to rerun my scan on channel 6 and see if I can capture, if I'm, whoa, yeah, okay, a lot more stuff. Wow, okay, everything's on channel 6.
Yeah. I was going to say, there's a lot of stuff on our network.
Oh my gosh, there is a lot of stuff on our network. So we're scanning for stations. I'm sure one of these is going to be Michael, Panda Wireless, all this other great stuff. We even have a Raspberry Pi. There's so much stuff. So I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know what Michael's MAC address is because it's somewhere up here because we've already identified his dumb phone. So it's right here. So let's see if we can find a MAC address matching this. Oh God, I already forget what it was. C6.
I think my phone randomizes MAC address.
It very well could.
When I'm connected to different networks.
I just know that there's going to be a lot of people who will get very upset. You want to tell me your current MAC address just so I can spare the rest of our network from being disconnected? I know that these ones are the Yi lights, but
my MAC address starts with 66.
That's got it. I got you. It ends with F9? Yeah. You're number 4. Okay, so let's redo this command now that we know that we have a target. So before, what I suspect was the problem was we didn't effectively have a target to go after, so we weren't able to separate Michael from his precious network because, you know, they weren't logged as being together in the first place. So we're going to deauth, in this case, station 4. Oh my gosh, please don't just fire off without... Okay, cool. Deauth station 4. Okay. Let's see if this works. What? Unknown argument at command deauth. So deauth st4. Stop. Okay, that certainly started to work. All right, let's take a look at this command again. If we had it just working like this, maybe I can just copy and paste. Everything's working.
Yay.
Weird. All right, so what are we doing right now? We're simultaneously deauthenticating as well as actually, I'm gonna. Oh, I'm not in Wireshark.
Yep, I'm not connected to
Yep.
Wi-Fi.
So Michael's getting kicked off Wi-Fi. Very sad. Press F for Michael. And if we're lucky, then his phone is going to bounce around and be like, oh my gosh, Michael's weird Wi-Fi network. Like, please, are you
it's
here?
starting to connect to this. Is Michael's phone.
Oh boy.
It says obtaining IP address.
Oh boy. All right, so it looks like Michael's phone is desperately trying to join this network. I'm not sure if it'll be able to succeed. This is kind of the advanced portion of this, but if so, then we will have access to information about Michael's phone.
I think it's going to be stuck on obtaining an IP address.
No, try.
I'm not touching anything. I'm just letting it do its thing.
Yeah, well, don't let the screen turn off.
Yeah, it's just
it's okay.
Constantly saying.
So we're basically, Michael's phone is going to be caught in a pickle here. It desperately wants to connect back to the house Wi-Fi network, but it never will be able to.
Access point temporarily full.
Whoa, I've never heard that
seen
before.
that before.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm assuming it's not getting an IP address.
Yeah, I've never seen temporarily full before. That's very funny.
Well, what that would mean is the DHCP server has allocated all of its slots.
Yeah, but that's not actually what's happening.
Right.
It's just like erroring out and freaking out and doesn't know what's happening because we're hacking it. All right, so we're still...
Oh, I wonder is that trying to do a different IP? Well, it never connected to this before, so it wouldn't have a previous IP address.
It has no... Also, the preferred network list has no idea about any of that stuff. Like, it's just trying to connect to, like, whatever it can. So I'm going to just stop it real quick, and then I'm going to see if I can... Oops.
Oh, and now I'm back connected to the home network.
Oh, of course, yeah. So I stopped the attack. Michael was able to resume his previous behavior.
Yeah.
But let's see if just starting this again might be able to...
Facebooking at work. Getting paid to Facebook, you could say.
No. All right, go ahead and take a look at your networks again.
Okay.
Let's see what's going on.
It's attempting to obtain IP address again of Michael's phone.
All right, so at the very least, we've got an attempt. Now, I feel like, did we set this to hidden? Yeah, we did set this to hidden. So it's recognizing it, it's trying to connect to it, but one thing... Oh my gosh, we finally got it. All right, so go ahead and tap here to connect to the network.
It wants me to sign in.
Yeah, it wants you to sign in, it's redirecting you. And as soon as it successfully redirects you, if in fact it does, it's going to try loading it again. It's going to generate a phishing page. No. So we're phishing Michael now.
Can you put the ESP here somewhere?
I'm holding it.
I think it might be line of sight issue.
Yeah. You have to try it again. Go back to Wi-Fi and then tap to connect. Yeah. And if not, then we can simulate it because this usually works, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
In a browser, you can just go to 192.168.4.1.
4.1?
Mm-hmm. So we have rigged up a very, very basic phishing page on this. Most devices will automatically route you to that phishing page as soon as you join. Of course, nothing is going right the first time as we're demonstrating this, but
Love live demos.
yeah, love live demos.
Oh.
And
I'm attempting to connect to that.
4-1.
Yeah, it didn't want to connect.
All right, well, either way, we can see the activity that Michael's doing on this now by the requests that are being generated. So automatically...
I'm not connected to it anymore.
Oh, well,
Or wait, or it's like, no. Yeah, I think my phone's acting up because...
Wait, tap to sign into network. Sometimes I just have to touch it myself with my own hands. And that will help. But also sometimes not.
Well, so what I think is happening is because my Pixel is trying to be super helpful and smart, it tries to see if it has an internet connection, and then when it doesn't have an internet connection on a network, it doesn't like it, and then it tries to leave it and join one that does have an internet connection.
Right. And there you go. Go ahead. All right, put in a password. So Michael's now been redirected to our phishing page. It's like, hey, sorry, Michael, your Wi-Fi network is down. You need to type in your password in order to be able to get back in. And here we get it, Michael's Leet Pass. So, wow.
Nice.
That was a lot of stuff we did today. Let's go through very basically for anybody that caught on a little bit late what just happened. So using this QR code, and we can probably switch away from my screen now. I think that's all the meat and potatoes of what we're doing today. But using this QR code, we got Michael to join a hidden Wi-Fi network that allowed us basically backdoor access to his internet connection.
So you social engineered me into scanning a QR code.
Yep. So we social engineered Michael into scanning a QR code. It automatically added a hidden network to his preferred network list on his smartphone. And then using the Wi-Fi deauthor, we were able to create a access point while simultaneously kicking him off of his real access point and force his device to connect to this marvelous little device.
And I think important to note there too is you didn't have to do that immediately after. This could have been 3 years later. You could have popped that network up and forced me to join
Exactly. And it doesn't matter whether or not the network that's on this card really exists. The phone will still act as though it's automatically, or act as though it's successfully joined it and trust the network from then on. So you can put this into someone's phone once and then take advantage of it 6 months later. It doesn't really matter. You'll still have access to their phone and be able to directly connect to it, start serving them phishing pages, and even start seeing what web pages they're going to. So lots of nasty stuff you can do when you capture someone's data connection. And this is just one example of how a not very well, and I consider to be very misunderstood feature of Wi-Fi can be used against people who just don't understand the way that it's supposed to work. Because these are all features. Like, we're not really doing we're not breaking anything. We're basically taking advantage of features that are designed to be so convenient that they can be bent by hackers or anybody else that wants access to this data in order to take advantage of people who are just, trying to use their phones.
Yeah. And so what's the importance of it being a hidden network? Because in theory, I could do the same thing with a public Wi-Fi network.
Right. A hidden network will beacon out constantly. So if I don't know, so let's say I want to tag your phone with a big bright tag that everyone can see.
So that wherever I walk, I'm always beaconing.
Always beaconing. Right. If I wanted to just have you connect to a public Wi-Fi network and I know the name of the network but no one else does, then I can reveal the fact that you've joined that network by creating a bunch of beacons like we did in the first step. So basically make it so that there's a lot of fake networks that have that name, and then his phone will try to connect and let us know, oh, his phone is going to connect to this network if we were to pop up a version that's actually joinable. So there's two ways of going about it. We can either pull the information out by creating a bunch of fake networks, or we can just inject it by having somebody scan one of this and have their phone constantly shouting out, this is Michael's phone, look at me, like all the time. And you can see that when it's not connected to a Wi-Fi network, it shouts it out just on one channel at least 3 times per second, which is crazy.
On next week's live stream, we post QR codes around downtown and see how many people scan them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I gave out a bunch of boards that came with like a URL that we told them not to plug it in because it would just go to that URL, and our tracker went crazy. Everybody just plugged it in immediately and went to our tracking code. So yeah, tracking is real. And today we're teaching about how to track people via Wi-Fi, but there's lots of other ways that you can be tracked. We've done some stuff on Grabify, I believe, as well.
Oh yeah, you could do a Grabify link with a QR code really easily too.
You sure could.
Is there a way to manipulate the QR code so that it'll like do a Grabify link, but then also have them join the network at the same time, or would that necessarily?
Not that I know of. It would violate the standard. As far as I know, there's probably some way to like mess with it so it's like parsed as one and then the other or something. But I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but Okay, so that was a lot today. Hopefully you guys like Wi-Fi hacking. It's one of my favorite topics, and this is some research I've been doing personally over the last couple of weeks. So if you like it, please let me know and ask as many questions as you have, and I would love to answer them. If you guys also have any ideas for future episodes, you can always hit me up on Twitter at Cody Kinsey, my full legal name, and then you can also follow Michael at his full legal name, _Hoyt.
Yeah, totally not a pseudonym.
Yeah. And as always, a big thank you to Varonis for sponsoring Hacking with Friends. If you like the show, you can also check out some of the other great content Varonis has, like the AD PowerShell workshop, which is a great way of getting started working with a Active Directory using PowerShell.
Yeah.
All right.
Get you a couple of CPE, CV,
I love
whatever credits.
Continued, education.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can get some CVs as well.
Yeah.
So that's great. All right, so we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, that's it. Bye.
Bye.